so, while they were there, the time came for her to give birth. And once again, I don't need to rehash this Christmas story because we've heard it already recited a couple times tonight, thanks to our children, as well as to Aubrey, who did an awesome job with those scriptures. So very, very awesome job there as she recited those verses. And so here's where I really want us to go tonight. If you've been tuning in on Wednesdays the last couple weeks, you may have caught, I liked this year to spend the Christmas story in the Gospel of John. And the Gospel of John is not where you traditionally go when you're wanting to hear the Christmas story, because you don't find mention of Mary and Joseph going to Bethlehem. You don't find mention of the shepherds out in their fields. You don't find mention of the Magi. What you find is something a little bit different. You see, John writes in chapter 1, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And he was in the beginning with God, and all things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made." So as John begins to set up this Christmas story, what John wants to do, he wants to go back to the beginning and establish Jesus didn't just come on a night in Bethlehem. Yeah. I think it just keeps losing signal and dropping out, but that's fine.
Would it help to move it up more?
We'll just
let it go.
That, or you can record on video.
Gotcha, yes.
So, anyway, sorry. So as I was saying, John goes all the way back to the beginning of creation, recognizing that it's not just about one night in Bethlehem. But from the beginning, God had given us himself. He had sent himself in relationship, going all the way back to Adam and Eve. The Word was in the beginning, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, why is this significant as we discuss the Christmas season? Well, John doesn't just stop there, but he keeps going. In him, in the Word, in Jesus, was life. And the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John, and he came as a witness to bear witness about the light, that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to bear witness about the light. And the true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming into the world. So what John goes on to say is that Jesus is that light. That when Jesus came into the world, he brought the light of men. He brought hope. He brought purpose. He brought freedom to all of humanity. That's why when the angels sing that this is good news of great joy for all people, Jesus, the light of the world, was there in the flesh in Bethlehem. You're just going to have to stop. Yeah, thank you. So, again, technical issues, we love them here. With that being said, what I want us to focus on tonight, because of course we're talking about a candlelight service. We're not talking about just lights on a tree. We're not talking about lights in a home or out for display for all to see. Last week I talked about how much we enjoy Christmas lights during this time of season. I don't know about you. I love going and seeing Christmas lights that are hung and displayed. They just bring a sense of cheer, right? They bring such a sense of joy and festive nature. And Christmas wouldn't be the same without all the lights. And indeed, Christmas would not be the same without the light of the world. Now, lights do a lot of things. They help us to see, but they also invite us in. They welcome us. I want you to consider, would you try to enter a house if all the lights were out? That would mean you're not welcome, that nobody's home or nobody is awake or that the house is closed up to you. But when somebody has a light on, when the porch light's left on, or when you see a house all lit up, you know that it's warm, that it's glowing, and that it is inviting. It's welcoming in. And Jesus, the light of the world, came to invite us, to welcome us in, to offer us an opportunity for relationship, for reconciliation back to God. And so often as we read in Matthew and in Luke, we think about that little baby. We think about the shepherds and Mary and Joseph, an innkeeper, and all of these characters. But this Christmas season, I want you to remember the light. The light of the world that brings the true meaning of Christmas. That God invites us to have hope again. God invites us to have peace again. Because by sending his Son, God invites us to a relationship with him. And so John continued, he was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own people did not receive him. But to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. This Christmas season, it's not just about one baby, but it's about all God's children. And God sent the light of the world so that all of us could be sons and daughters of the King. When Jesus was sent into the world, there were many who missed it that night. But when you look at who were there, the shepherds, the least of these, you can know that this gospel message isn't just restricted to the elite. It's not just for those with money in their bank accounts or with nice homes or have everything figured out in their lives, that have the perfect Christmas cards. No, the light of the world came so that the least of these, that any of us could come to know him. If we would just believe in his name and recognize that he is the Messiah. And so this Christmas season, my encouragement to all of you is when you see the lights all around on the Christmas trees or hanging on the houses or wherever you go, remember the light of the world. And remember what he did for us. Not just on that night in Bethlehem, but all the way to Calvary, where his light shone brightest when he laid down his life for us to cover all the darkness within us. Because the good news is the darkness doesn't overcome the light, but the light overcomes the darkness. It shines bright. And so we are then called this Christmas season, if we are in relationship, we are sons and daughters of the King, then we are also called to go and to be lights. And so at this time, we're going to dim our house lights. I think we got it there. We're going to dim our house lights. And we're going to start to light our candles. And as the flame gets passed across the room, I want you to think about, as you receive that light, you are receiving the light of the world. You are receiving Jesus, and you're recognizing that he has called you to now go and be a light carrier to the world. To go and to proclaim the good news that was declared that night in Bethlehem. That all of us are invited. All of us are welcomed in to the family of God. And so this Christmas season, as we think about the lights and the light of the world, are you going forth and letting your light shine? Are you inviting people in? Are you living a life in such a way that people are welcomed? That people are enticed to come in, that you give off a warm glow because the love of Jesus is so evident. This Christmas season, remember the true light. Because that's the real reason for the season. Not just the gifts, not the decorations, not Santa Claus or anything like that. But the real reason for the season is the light. And as you think about the Christmas story, think about how the light continues to show up. When the angels appeared to the shepherds, it says that a glorious light shone about them. Whenever the wise men, the magi, are following, what are they following? They're following the light of a star. God sent the light of the world to us. And so, the challenge is simple. as each of you receive your light, what are you doing with it? Are you carrying it for all the world to see? We're going to continue singing.
Oh come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel that mourns in lonely exile here, until the Son of God appears. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, the rod of Jesse free, thine own from Satan's tyranny. From depths of hell thy people save, and give us victory o'er the grave. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, O King of nations, bind in one the
y'all can carefully blow out your candles and put them in the box back there when you leave. I hope that tonight you're able to see Jesus, to feel him, to know him. And if you don't know him, find someone here and we will guide you. And you can have the best Christmas you've ever had if you haven't known him. I hope tonight was enjoyable. We had a lot of participants, and that was so great that so many participants wanted to do something. We're going to end it like we've always, I guess for the last 3 years, ended it. Marley's going to do Joy to the World, and y'all are welcome to sing along with her. You can leave after she finishes.